evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's NISA matchup at Barnabo Stadium between Club de Lyon and Michigan Stars. At this time, we ask that you please rise. Gentlemen, remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Match week 4 rolls on NISA Plus. We are back at Barnabo Field at Romeo High School, and we'll see if Michigan Stars can remain as one of only 2 teams that have not dropped points in NISA so far this year. They've got 2 wins from 2. They welcome in Club de Lyon, looking for their first league win of the season. Hey there, everybody. Glad to have you along for the ride. Mason Lowry and Chris Schmidbauer with you. And what I'm interested in, Chris, is the fact that the Stars starting 11 is as strong as we've seen so far in the league this year. Their first 2 league matches here at home against Savannah Clovers and Georgia FC, making the Georgia swing at home, so to speak. Those 2 matches came on either side of their U.S. Open Cup match with Detroit City FC, their big rivals. A lot of guys were rested. This is about as good as it gets.
When you get off to a 2-0 start, especially after you're coming off a great run to close last season, you're obviously NISA champs a few years back. You want to get off to a good start. You want to prove that you're right in the conversation once again. We've seen so many times in all these different sports where teams have very competitive squads on paper, but being able to put it together on the pitch and doing it for real is not always the easiest thing to do. So to actually translate it to the field, a good start for the Stars.
One player noticeably absent for the Stars is their leading scorer, Praise Madukwe. Now, he has great reason for not being present this evening. He's graduating from Western Michigan University. Commencement was today. He's been given the afternoon off. You see, Club de Lyon, we had a really nice conversation with Fabien Pourain, their owner and current coach of the team, and he says, look, we're trying different systems in every game. It's a team that is very young. There hasn't been a great deal of roster continuity, so this is a group really trying to find its way in a different way than the Stars are trying to do it. The Stars have a fairly settled starting 11 now. Club de Lyon still trying to find it.
Well, Fabien said basically that they've really had to try and mix and match a lot of different parts. They've had issues bringing players into the country. He's an Argentinian, so he's got a lot of passion for this sport, wants to see this club be competitive, but they've definitely met a lot of challenges along the way since they've started this organization. I hope for their sake that they're able to figure things out, but right now, just so many different pieces moving in and out of the lineup. It's been a real struggle. But as he said, tonight, this kind of matchup is where he wants to see how the young kids are able to survive on the field. He said tonight is about seeing what these young ones are made of.
Michigan Stars there in kind of an unfamiliar red strip. We're used to seeing them in all or almost all white at home. They're in red. Club de Lyon, the team in all white this evening. Club de Lyon with Alvaro Rezzano in goal. Ivan Arenas, Matias Cruz, Sebastian Mateus, those 2 are back from last year, as is Matias Pourain, the son of Fabien Pourain. Pedro Echeverria, Carter Burris in the starting 11 with Gabriel Ortiz, Christopher Clement, one of their guys brought back from last year, Victor Rolf, and Andrew Anyafo making his first start of the season. Michigan Stars with Tatenda Makruva in goal, the captain Sebastian Kapazuki and Sako Kanate, the 2 center backs, Robert and Steven Yunchai, both brothers together in the starting lineup. Brady Walker is the left back. Colin Stripling, Andres Chalbot, Hunter Olsen, who scored 6 times last year, Elias McLeod, and Leon Marich looking for his first goal of this year, having scored 14 in 2023. More goals than everybody in the league, aside from Marcus Nagelstad of Chattanooga FC. And we are underway. It is breezy as it inevitably is up here in Romeo. There aren't a lot of buildings around Barnabo Field, and that means if it's a little bit breezy on the highway, let's say, it is really whipping around here. Although, unlike last weekend when the Stars beat Georgia FC 2-0, instead of being a severe north-south wind, it's more of a crosswind this time. Caught standing on the ball there was Pedro Echeverria. The Stars can try and break out for the first time. This is Steven Yunchai clipping that ahead for Leon Marich, who had just straight offside. Jeremy Valentine is tonight's referee. Evan Barnett and Colton Odom running the lines. Mark Lorkowski is the fourth official.
Mentioned the wind. Stars taking to go into the wind in this first half. Not that it always has a huge effect, but things should be a little bit better for Makruva in net in that second half instead of having to try and judge the ball against the wind.
Long ball sails out of play from Rezzano. He's somebody else who, in that conversation with Fabian Purin, was telling us he had moved to the U.S. a couple of years ago but had to wait 2 years for his green card, was not able to play, so had to take a couple of seasons off after a lengthy career in South America. And that's tough when you're a keeper that hasn't played in a good long while, trying to get your legs back under you and find your form again.
That's exactly the point he made. He said the problem is a lot of guys probably would like to see some time in net, but he said with Rezzano just trying to get his familiarity between the pipes, once again, it's been very critical for him to have more minutes on the field. He said if he doesn't have minutes, he can't get reacclimated. So critical to be able to have that time on the field, to be able just to get back into the form and get back into the groove of things.
Swapping out one Zara ball for another. The initial one went a little bit flat, and I have a feeling that came when Echeverria got caught standing on the ball at the other end of the pitch. Here's Leon Marich, who is more than happy to be pulled wide and dropped back deep into midfield to help make things happen. He is such an effective target man with a neat little turn of pace as well. Tenda Makruva, so often you can find him a long way from his goal mouth, and well, he's got no problem setting up shop at about the 30-yard line if you're thinking of it in terms of an American football field, and just kind of hanging around, spraying long balls forward, playing the kind of way that most goalkeepers are afraid to, although
Correct.
It feels like as time goes on, it becomes more and more important. I've had this conversation with Chris Black, my usual partner on these broadcasts, many a time, that a goalkeeper be so much more than just a shot stopper. They need to be good with the ball at their feet, and Makruva certainly is.
Well, it's important to have that just because there are going to come critical moments in a match where you're going to have the ball at your foot, and it's important for you to make a good pass, to be able to make sure that you get enough lift or enough pace on the ball to be able to get through. And you and I have seen enough soccer matches over the years where you can just tell a keeper is not comfortable, or when a keeper is not comfortable with the ball at their foot. And that is such an incredible, I guess, overlooked piece of goaltending.
Yeah, Makruva, unlike a lot of goalkeepers, is more than happy to be put under pressure. Here's Konate. Scored the winner for the Stars in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup in extra time against Minnesota United 2. Hunter Olsen put the exclamation point on that one. 2-0 ended up being the final score in that one before the 1-0 loss, and a really good defensive performance against a really good Detroit City side of USL Championship.
But that match against Detroit City a few weeks back just tells you how good this roster is to be able to go up and compete with a team that more people would probably say is a little bit more bountiful in the resources, to be able to sign better players and to be able to go in there and compete the way that the Stars did. That's and should be a big confidence booster for them.
They were able to come back from the disappointment of that loss with a I think the word that I kept using was professional 2-0 win over Georgia FC. Goals on either side of halftime from Madukwe and Shalbad. Kanate gives the free kick away. Won't be booked for that, but Jeremy Valentine says don't do that again.
A lot of contact on the back of Pourain. Didn't take much selling to get that call.
No, indeed. He had a really good season last year, 5 goals and 4 assists for the number 10. Fabian was explaining to us just what the number 10 means back home in Argentina. Unsurprisingly, that's the position his son plays. It's out of the reach of Sebastian Mateus. Goal kick for Tatenda Makruva, the former Zimbabwe international. And as happens so often in Nisa, it's a very new squad for the Stars this year as Robert Yunchai gives that ball away in a dangerous area. That's whipped across the 6-yard box. Kanate clears partially. Poked back into defense and then all the way back to Rezzano.
Probably the most dangerous ball we've seen, and Kanate right where he needs to be. Supporting Makruva.
That's Cruz up there. Crosses floated over everyone and mopped up by Makruva.
You can see that wind a little bit having an effect on some of these passes for De Leon.
And Kanate, that's another giveaway. He won it back momentarily, getting a boot in there at 6'6". His legs are so long.
Well, there's one way to seed an early goal, and that's unnecessary turnovers in the attacking third for the other team. So many times during this, I always call it a feeling out period during those first 10, 15 minutes or so. The quickest way to see a goal sometimes during that time frame is to see a turnover.
Absolutely.
In a terrible spot. And as you mentioned earlier, when you're a club that on paper is supposed to be the better of the two sides, and you're supposed to put a, as you put it, professional effort together, that's one way to get a little bit of panic early on.
There's a good ball in by Olsen initially. Neat little backheel. There's the shot. It's just wide from Elias McLeod. Took a deflection along the way. Michigan Stars have the first corner of the night.
Great build-up, great pass. Just pushed a little wide by McLeod, but that's what happens when you've got the passing ability that this club has up front.
The presence of mind of Stripling to just backheel that into his path. See what Robert Yunchai can create from the corner. It's one of the air by on Yafo. He played collegiately at Mercer, the son of a former Nigerian international. Now we'll see what the wind does with Hunter Olsen's long throw-in. Designated throw-in taker from this range. It's a long line drive, looking for Kanate, the biggest target in the box there, as we said, at 6'6". McLeod able to keep Stars in possession, but not for long. Olsen here has won it back from Mateus, and that goes behind another corner.
Olsen's had a good first couple of minutes here. Definitely making his presence known on that far side.
Yeah, last year at age 25 was his first professional season, got 6 goals and an assist. Wasn't really in the picture at the start of the year, was coming off the bench a lot, and then as soon as he got put into the starting 11, he's one of the first names on the team sheet week in, week out. So Stephen Yunchai will try another corner.
This time the wind into his face.
Trying to cut that ball under the breeze, and the little half volley from Kanate hits the football crossbar.
It actually worked out quite well. I think it would have had a little bit too much pace had it not gotten caught up in the breeze.
It was better contact from Kanate than I was expecting, to be honest.
it's almost sort of died once it got over Canate.
And that wasn't far away from picking out that top corner either. Alvaro Rezano, his last club was Real Esteli in Honduras. He's also been with teams in Mexico, Argentina, Mexico, Paraguay, and Bolivia. And in Bolivia, he was with one of the best professional soccer team names in the world. Bolivia's got two of them. Always Ready was who he played with. Of course, the Bolivian First Division also has the Strongest, which is just a fabulous name. It's right up there with Go Ahead Eagles in the Netherlands. And it was just announced, I think, today in USL League One. It's going to be the first professional team in Maine, and they're going to go by, I think, Portland Hearts of Pine or something like that, which is also a great name. An homage to Hearts of Oak in Ghana. Canate takes that off his thigh.
You have to respect when a club goes with a mascot that's of some local significance.
Now I want to know who's putting on that pine tree in Portland, Maine as well.
Same guy.
Hire somebody from Stanford.
That's what I was going to say, the same guy who does it at Stanford.
McLeod held off his man. Marriage tried to touch back to him. He was expecting him to rush onto that, but not able to. Well, they've been fairly well organized, Club de Lyon, in the first 11 and a half minutes of this one. Only team to have a shot so far has been Michigan Stars. One just wide from McLeod, though, with the aid of a deflection, and then Canate spooting a corner over the bar. Bit of pressure applied to Rezano. That's a good read by McLeod, and it's been poked back his way, but Mateos was there. Tops out for a throw-in, though. Throw-in belongs to Club de Lyon.
Well, gave props to Hunter Olsen a few moments ago, but McLeod's been the other guy who's read plays very well from midfield, has been able to come up and support. Was interesting in talking with Fabian before the game with Club de Lyon. He said, we want to attack. We want to be an aggressive group out front, but right now they've had to be on the defensive for quite a bit.
Tough to do that against a bigger, older, far more experienced team professionally. There are a lot of guys in the early stages of their professional career, regardless of how old they may be. It's all about putting that experience into them. He said, look, on paper, it's a match that Michigan Stars should win based on experience and size and so many different factors. But they're playing the long game, Club de Lyon. Feeling more stable, hopefully, than they were this time last year. And like so many clubs at this level, it's now about finding sponsors and people that want to buy into it, literally and figuratively, what they're growing. Year one was about getting a foot in the door, and year two is more about actual growth as a club. Matias Bourain was left down on the deck.
So they did a lot of networking behind the scenes this offseason, trying to figure out what that home base is going to be. That's another piece that was very tough for them last year. Weren't able to be in the same spot all the time. They had to switch stadiums during the season.
Venue availability was a problem. They played their last handful of home games in a public park, essentially, including two against Michigan Stars. Those couple of wins for the Stars down in Florida allowed them to secure that number 2 seed. Stars stopped playing for a moment. They thought the ball had gone out of play. It doesn't find Carter Burris in the box. He was hoping it might float under him. He blocks it behind for a goal kick. Stars are still kind of annoyed that play was allowed to continue when they had stopped. But no harm, no foul in the end. There haven't been many fouls in the opening 14 and a half minutes. Whereas last week I made the mistake of saying as we approach first half stoppage time, isn't this something we might get to halftime without anybody being booked? And it's one of those statements that before you've even put the period on the end of that sentence, you're proven incorrect. Don't you hate when that happens?
Absolutely. I've been the victim of it many times. Plenty of times where you say, hasn't struck out yet this season.
And then he does.
And then the next pitch, guy strikes out.
Oh, Stephen Yunchai almost latched onto that. Sebastian Kapazuki ushers that back to Makruva. It's been a new center back partnership in each of the last 3 seasons for Michigan Stars. Might take a little bit of time for Kapazuki and Konate to really find their way as a duo. Good stretch by Stripling, the former Chattanooga FC man.
It's been very impressive in the middle field so far, and to have a guy that's able to range from side to side and almost be, for lack of a better phrase, that vacuum cleaner in the middle.
Yeah, they cover tremendous ground, that midfield 3. Here is Yunchai. Can he get down the line and put a cross into the box against Anyafo, who concedes the corner?
Good defensive play. Again, corners are going to be tough at this end. We've seen it twice now. I think if you're picking which you would rather do at this point, and I'm sure both coaches have thought that way defensively, what they would instruct guys to do, it certainly would be trying to go into that wind or against that wind.
Yunchai to Konate, but there's a whistle as the ball was in the air.
You could just see the wind take that immediately, though.
It might take a few dead ball deliveries to really work out how you need to hit it to keep it under the wind, or at least to minimize how effective it is at altering the flight of the ball.
You and I have done a lot of matches over our years covering this sport, and it's kind of one of the underrated aspects, I think, sometimes to the viewing audience, is how much wind does affect things and how long it can take for teams to really adjust to that.
Well, and especially if you're a team that wants to play direct,
absolutely,
get the ball forward, kind of soccer. If you're building on the deck, it maybe won't have that much of an impact, but boy, if you want to pick the ball up in your own defensive third and just hammer the ball forward and let wingers and strikers try and camp under it and make something happen that way, you're in for a bad time for the 45 minutes that you are against the wind. In fact, it was so brutal here last week. I'll pick up this thought in a moment as Stephen Yunchai starts to scamper into space. Has options straight ahead and to the right, and that ball didn't find the mark. He wanted Leon Marich. He's making that kind of underlapping run. Didn't make its way to him. We kind of marveled at the fact last week, Chris Black and I, that the Stars were able to score against the wind in the first half. And we thought, well, if Georgia FC is going to equalize, it's going to have to happen before halftime because they are really going to struggle against the wind the way they were playing. And, well, we were proven right. Chalbad, the Venezuelan, added a insurance goal late in the second half for the Stars to get away with that 2-0 win. Club de Lyon, by the way, drew 1-1 with Georgia FC in the season opener, then lost 2-0 to Savannah Clovers in their second game. All about a building process. They're dealing with some injuries right now as well, including to a former Argentine international that he hopes will be healthy in a few weeks when they come back up here on May 18th.
Sounds like there's a lot of experience that they're trying to build in, but as you said, that injury bug has just bitten a lot of those guys.
McLeod took a tumble, lost possession. Here comes Carter Burris. And Stripling will be booked here. First yellow card of the day. Kept that foot out there. Burris propelled himself over it, and it's a free kick for Club de Lyon.
Well, it was apparent that Burris had beaten Stripling, and had Stripling not slid in to take out Burris on that run, that would have been a very difficult play for Tatenda Makruva in net.
I think Colin Stripling felt that was a dive. But once you've extended the leg like that and it's off the ground just a touch as it was, certainly understandable where the foul and the booking would come from. Arenas will send this ball into the back post. Well, that was probably Makruva's, but Konate took a touch anyway. It's diverted behind for a corner.
Makruva actually said something to Konate after.
Yeah, possibly to that effect,
yep.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you were saying about Stripling's thoughts I think anytime, if I were ever to be booked, I think I would always think it was a dive as well. But that looked pretty obvious, I think, from my vantage point.
So Purain's delivery, good catch by Makruva under pressure from Andrew Anyafo.
That's a great ball forward under that wind that you mentioned.
And he is so good at that, Makruva.
Probably a little bit too much juice on it, but even still, that's kind of the adjustment, as you said, that you have to make that Rosano hasn't necessarily done just yet.
Olsen joined in the press that time, headed out for a throw-in. Scoreless near the midway point of the first half. Best opportunity came from Elias McLeod early on, dragging a shot wide. Stripling lifting that ahead. Olsen tried to latch onto it. Marriage goes down. That's a free kick in shooting territory for the Stars.
Marriage grabbing that right ankle, a lot of collision.
He'll have to settle for winning the free kick.
I was going to say, there's no card coming, no matter how much politicking you do. Head referee's been pretty staunch in that decision so far. But a scoring opportunity nonetheless. Chance to get on the board first.
So Hunter Olsen and Stephen Yunchai both stand over this. Shooting territory for either of them. Yunchai steps up, lobs it through, and Yafo wins it in the air in front of Maric. A little bit surprised that neither of them had a go at goal that time. Good little 1-2 with McLeod and Yunchai. See if Stephen can get a ball into the box. That's blocked by Christopher Clement. And Yunchai fouls Anyafo.
That one, I agree with Stephen Yunchai on. That was basically running into a guy who was already down on the field. It's a tough call to say that there was any kind of play by Stephen Yunchai that made that happen. Andrew Anyafo was already down on the field before Yunchai even made any contact.
Well, what can they create? And there's the pace of Hunter Olsen trying to head that into his own path, but he headed it down off of his own knee instead. Behind for a goal kick.
There wasn't a lot of support behind Hunter Olsen at that point, but if you can maybe pull it out to that far corner and allow some support to come.
I have to think if he's able to head that down and he's able to latch onto it himself, he's having a strike at goal even from a weird angle like that.
Hopefully maybe you catch that far post.
Hey, if you hit it hard at the goalkeeper, who knows where the ball might end up.
Stranger goals have been scored.
Hit it on. We'll see what kind of pace Arenas has, and Cruz is over there also.
It was a smart play by Kanate just to let that ball go through. He knew he was the first person forward. No one was going to catch it if he wasn't there, so you might as well just let your team get the throw in.
Anyafo, the deepest outfield player for Club de Lyon.
See all that pressure just leaking forward for Stars.
Clement sends that right at Makruva. Kanate, I think, took a boot in the face from Pedro Echeverria Hernandez.
Kanate actually over the back of Echeverria. and both players collapsed, and Kanate definitely got the worst of that collision.
Got one in the forehead, I think. Ouch.
That doesn't feel good.
No, indeed. The bench for the Stars: Justin June, Daniel Wright, Kyle Healy, Niels Lelouch, Nicholas Nicola, Nathan Brown, Pierre Sanrabens, Brandon Reske, the backup keeper, and Brett Russell, teenager and a local high school player who got a few minutes under his belt last weekend against Georgia FC. Kanate will be all right to come back on.
Just making sure. Always want to be careful, especially with the emphasis around head injuries these days.
Oh, yeah.
Better safe than sorry. Make sure that Kanate is fit to come back.
Robert Yunchai's up there. Did well to put that on Marich's chest. There's Shalbot. Back heel looking for the return pass, but missed the mark. That's lobbed up ahead for Hernandez, who's onside. Trying to cut in, has a shot from distance that hops wide.
I like the idea, though. The wind definitely aided that. I know we've said it a lot, but the wind pushed that pass just a bit further forward, able to get a good shot. Why not give it a go?
Well, on top of which, it's tough to commit too many men forward on the
Correct.
break because there's so many players for the Stars that would worry you. Shalbot and Olsen, Yunchai, and Marich, of course, won the silver boot, I guess you could call it, last year. Elias McLeod as well, somebody else that's dangerous.
But when your MO is attacking as the way that Club de Leon wants to be, you have to at least pick your opportunities to be that. And I appreciate the attempt there just because you haven't had a real meaningful chance yet, anything that's raised an eyebrow.
That was Colin Stripling, by the way, who hauled Matias Purain down. And remember, Stripling's on a yellow card, picked up an early one. That's not somebody that you want to lose. Burris backed into Brady Walker. Here's Clement. Nothing on ahead of him, so has to go further back to Enyafo. And Burris, no chance to get to that, runs behind.
Looked like cleat got caught in this turf here. That pivot's always so tough, and I would imagine most clubs, for the most part, playing on turf in the league, but even still, it makes it a very difficult transition sometimes with the footwork.
Boy, that goal kick, we talked about keeping them under the wind, but
Yeah, that knocked it down immediately.
Way too close for comfort. It was kept solo, it didn't beat the first man. Got away with it, though. Maybe it won't be so lucky this time as McLeod gets crowded out 1 against 2 and a free kick given against the one.
Purain has definitely been a little bit of a thorn in the side of Stars so far.
He's very skilled. 5-goal scorer last year.
As you mentioned, Stripling already with the 1 yellow because of contact with him. Now another free kick just by the effort of play that he's given.
Be an in-swinging delivery from Ivan Arenas, but man, it kind of slices away from the corner flag, and Yunchai watches that out for a throw-in.
If you can see that corner flag, that literally tells you how much effect the wind is having here, because literally that ball did not curve at all because the wind just held it up.
Well, at least the corner flags are still standing as of right
true.
now, all 4 of them. That wasn't the case a week ago.
Well, you had said to me on the way up here that the wind could certainly be a factor, and it's really quite interesting to see how each team has tried to counteract that.
It's a good read initially by Stripling. Good feet from Burris. Played in college at Liberty. Both his father and uncle played back in the day. Was with Gold Star Detroit a year ago for a little while. That's Victor Rolfe. 22, clipping it forward, looking for one of Hernandez.
Great defensive play by Kanate, just to out jump. Stopped a run dead in its tracks.
Yeah, the only man up there, though, for the Stars is Hunter Olson. Forced Ortiz into a turn. Kapazuki trying to knock that into space. Purain sends it forward and out for a throw. Into the final almost 14 minutes, plus time added on at the end of this opening half. No shots on target yet. Couple of chances for the Stars. One shot that went wide from Club de Lyon. Andres Chalbad with a throw in. Second in the league in assists last year with 8 behind Andrew Wivel of Maryland Bobcats. That's a nice little ball from Marich, and Olsen is onside. That's blocked, but turned home. Big Lyon has his opening goal of the season. 1-0 to the Stars.
Well, he used every bit of that frame to free himself. You could see the defender is actually still, it's Purain that's complaining because Marich essentially just threw him to the deck and then was able to make the pass and then comes right off and frees himself up, as you said, for that putback off the deflection.
Just a little bit of a touch, I think, took it into the path of Leon Marich. Hunter Olsen will be credited for the assist. And that was a duo that we saw operate together so effectively last year. They've given the Stars the lead in the 32nd minute.
When we saw him last year in the couple of matches I did, just always marveled at his strength, but has such a good IQ on the pitch as well, how to use his body to create space, when to charge, when to hang back. It's taken a little bit of time to get going this year.
There's Olsen again on the left this time. Did well to get inside of Christopher Clement. Olsen sends that to the back post, just wide. Inches away from 2-0 and 2 goals in 2 minutes.
That would have been a terrific finish had Hunter Olsen be able to tuck it in that top right corner. But just that speed. Hunter Olsen just seems to have another gear that the back three of Club de Lyon don't have right now.
You know, guys like Hunter Olsen are the reason why a league like this one is so important, lower down the U.S. soccer pyramid. He's a guy that was a star at NCAA Division III level. He played at Calvin College in the state of Michigan, scored 46 goals in 4 years. I'll pick this up in a moment as the break is on for Club de Lyon. There's Carter Burris trying to cut that inside of Stephen Yunchai. Back to Clement at the edge of the box. Low cross, back post, tapped in. It's 1-1.
That was beautiful.
Ivan Arenas. So at one end, we're inches away from 2-0. Club de Lyon come right back down to the other end of the pitch, and they score. This is a really good run by Clement, who got turned inside out by Hunter Olsen just a moment ago and puts that on a plate for Ivan Arenas.
That's going to be one, though, when the Stars watch that back. Every defender got caught looking. That ball rolled right across the front of the net. Nobody made a move. I don't think anybody thought it was going to get all the way through. Certainly not Tenda Makruva, excuse me. I don't think thought it was going to get all the way through. And then just an easy touch finish there at the end. As an attacker, you love having to do nothing but just put a slight tap forward and watch it roll in.
Terrific ball across by Clement, and good skill by Stephen Yunchai to take that away from Purain.
And regardless of what the outcome is here tonight, obviously Fabian Purain wants to come away with a victory, but those odds not necessarily there, at least at this time. You would still assume that the Stars will perhaps be able to find another goal, but that's the kind of stuff that he's looking to see, that improvement from those young kids. And when you see something like that happen, that's a moment he can point to and say, if we do what we're supposed to do, these are the things that can happen.
And Arenas getting it done again, putting that across for Burris this time, blocked behind for a quarter. Ivan Arenas was the player that Fabian was telling us about. He goes, we have a really skilled, pacey little guy out on the left. And Ivan Arenas certainly fits the bill. Right place, right time. Great ball swept across by Clement. And now a chance at a corner. Maybe give Club de Lyon the lead. This is Pudain who will send this in. Bending delivery. Again, Makruva comes out, and again it's dealt with by one of his outfield players. Unable to clear. Picked up by Victor Rolfe. Brady Walker able to sweep that away from Echeverria Hernandez. Pop back to him again, but Walker goes 2 for 2 and keeping him off the ball.
It's a good touch by Olsen.
Very good. For Stephen Yunchai.
Just felt that pressure coming and knew he had to get rid of the ball quickly. That's one of those things, you and I, being the watchers of all the different sports that we are, to have that sixth sense to be able to feel that pressure, that's something that's hard to teach and learn, but once you figure it out, boy.
Marich for Shalbut. And to sweep that back to Robert Yunchai, who has to scamper back to keep possession with the home team.
And if you don't think that that goal gave Club de Lyon a little pep in their step, they have started committing a lot more players forward. You can see they are playing on their front foot right now.
Shalbut, good ball, dragging that ahead for Marich, who's pulled wide. May have 3 to aim at in the box, sends that across for Anyafo. He was aiming at Olsen, who was making the back post run. So it's really opened up in these last 5 minutes.
Well, this is where, as a coach or a spectator who is a fan of the Stars, when you see Makruva start, as we mentioned, that freelancing that he likes to do out away from net, once you see a team that is starting to push some guys forward and put some pressure, you start to get a little nervous that a mistake's going to be made.
And 2 guys took each other out. That's Kapazuki and
looks like Arenas.
For all the latest scores, stats, standings, and news, check out nisasoccer.com. Match week 4. Season now in full swing. For the Stars, they're going to get Maryland Bobcats here next weekend in what could be a battle for first place in the Eastern Conference. A couple of clubs that don't care much for each other, let's say. It's always feisty when those two get together. Maryland came here and won twice last year, as a matter of fact. Not the easiest thing for visitors to Romeo High School to pull off.
Stars have done a nice job of making this a difficult place to come in and play. Play very well at home.
It was such disappointment here last year when they did not win the championship final. The 6th seed Flower City Union, who is no longer in NISA, came here and won 1-0. Talked to some people around the team, and they felt that it was maybe the Stars' worst performance of the season. Really struggled to generate much in the attack. Flower City Union very defensive. Took their one chance, which the Stars just couldn't do.
Well, and just that marathon of a match between them and Chattanooga FC to even get to that level.
Yeah, that was really impressive from FCU, what they managed to pull off last year. I guess always leave them wanting more. You win the championship and then you take off for pastures new.
they can't say that we weren't the last champion when we were in Nisa.
McCriva will wait around the edge of his box. Five minutes left until halftime. See if either team can pull ahead before the break. This is where you really want to be airtight defensively. Oh, that's a great touch from Hunter Olsen, and here he comes. He's got Yunchai to try and pull it back forward. Tries to do just that. Yunchai's shot is blocked. Marich keeping this alive in the 18, and that's deflected right into the hands of Etzano. Stars
Olsen
wanted a penalty.
Hunter Olsen's laying down in the 6-yard box right now, and obvious discomfort. Looks like he's going to try and walk off whatever injury that was, but
just an impact blow, you would hope.
What a tremendous creation. Almost set up Yunchai perfectly for what would have been that second goal, but just blocked. Good job by Club de Leon to react to the pass, but Hunter Olsen, have a feeling before the day is over with, is going to have something more to say about the outcome of this one.
I think there's a decent chance that you are correct. Boy, it has really come to life since the 30-minute mark, hasn't it?
Well, to see the 2 goals, but as I said, I don't think Stars were as energized by their goal just because it was probably somewhat expected. But Club de Leon certainly was not expecting maybe to even come away with a goal. Sometimes you can play a terrific game and, as you know, not find one that goes into the back of the net. But to have that and to respond so quickly, that's where all of a sudden you start believing just a little bit. And when you got a young group, you feed off of that energy, and that's a pretty easy call.
Ortiz straight through the back of Elias McLeod.
But so much when you're dealing with young groups, a lot of it has to be about momentum and emotion. That's why you see a lot of those.
That's a yellow card for infringing on the free kick.
And that's on Pourain.
I got to be careful not to talk yourself into another one. I seem to recall that happening to him last year, getting 2 yellow cards in stoppage time out west at LA Force, and then he was out for their next match. That was right when they were in the thick of the race for that last playoff spot with Flower City Union. And as we talked about a few minutes ago, we all remember what they did. Really good ball forward. Can it find Stripling? That's blocked by Etzano, made himself big. And he comes out for it, a low-speed collision with himself and McLeod.
Well, Pourain is lucky that that was not the second goal. Kapazuki saw that he was going to spend more time complaining about the call and ended up starting play before Pourain was really even looking at the ball, and really went right past him and set up a really good opportunity for Stars.
I think Pourain's point initially was that the free kick was taken too quickly and he didn't have a chance to get out of the way.
Well, that time he wasn't even looking at it, so.
Yunchai just missed linking up with Lyon Marich. Anytime you leave your feet and you're 6'6", the fall is not going to feel great. Kanate got airborne, then came down on his hip, but he's fine. That's a free kick against Club de Leon.
Well, I'd imagine that Sacco Kanante probably would have been one heck of a basketball player as well.
Probably right. Acres of space for Stripling to stride into. Here's Marich.
That was a great touch back.
Stripling goes flying, no free kick. Throw in for the Stars.
Referee's letting him play in the middle. A lot of contact. We've certainly seen matches stop for a lot less.
Yunchai. Walker We've rarely seen the Michigan Stars left back in the attack in this opening half. He's up there now.
I think you're sensing exactly what you said, knowing that if you can get that second goal before the break, that gives you a really good feeling as you walk back to that locker room if you're Stars.
Olsen's long throw. Anyafo heads away. Shalbad from the edge of the box.
Everybody packed into that attacking third of the Stars right now.
Did Olsen manage to play that off of? No, he didn't.
Didn't
Clement
appear
back
from
there.
here, yeah. Looked like it went off the right boot of Olsen before it went out.
It's not the worst thing in the world. The Stars can try and put pressure on to win it back immediately at the edge of the final third.
Well, they've got 4 red shirts around 2 right now.
Kanate will smack that back to Tenda Bakruva. We're already into stoppage time. Now the board will go up. It's 3 minutes. We've already played 1. It's the cross, and the breeze takes that out to the edge of the 18. Chance for the Stars to break forward, but a good win by Clement. Remember, he created the equalizer. That cross doesn't find anybody. Arenas tries to run it down and cannot. Really, the only chance you have in that situation is to try and catch the Stars off guard and play it as quickly as you can.
That was so close, though. That was very close. If Arenas is maybe a half step faster, he gets on the right side of that ball and would have had a terrific opportunity for his second goal. I appreciate the aggressiveness of Echeverria Hernandez in this group right now. They just feel like they have a lot of confidence right now. And that's not to say that the Stars are playing poorly, but I'm not sure what was given to that group after that first goal, but boy, is it making them believe for sure right now. And as I said, if you're Fabian Purain, you are just absolutely thrilled, not only with the score, but the effort that you've seen the last 10 minutes or so.
Marich tried to hold off Sebastian Mateus. Walker saw that coming. Not enough on the ball forward. That runs out of play.
Just not enough speed either from Steven Yunchai to get over and play it forward again.
And that's halftime. Well, 2 goals in 2 minutes. Make it all even at the break. Hunter Olsen setting up Lyon Marich for the opener. That was on 32 minutes, and not long after, Ivan Arenas tapping home after some great work down the right from Christopher Clement. So it's all to play for in the second half. We'll see you back here in about 15 for the final 45 on NISA Plus. It's Michigan Stars 1, Club de Lyon 1. What might this second 45 minutes have in store as the sun starts to set in Romeo, Michigan? One apiece between Michigan Stars and Club de Lyon. Goals just 2 minutes apart from Lyon Marriage for the Stars, Ivan Arenas for Club de Lyon. Michigan Stars are making 2 changes. Robert Yunchai makes way for Niels Lelouch, the Frenchman. So we'll see if that means Lelouch comes out to right back or if maybe Andres Schalba drops a little bit deeper and there's a change up front. Kyle Healy is on as well. And I did not see when the board went up for him, so we'll have to go by process of elimination. I think it's Elias McLeod who comes off.
Pretty sure the referee put up the same substitution twice. So to be fair to you,
well,
you didn't miss anything, because I looked back and said, that's the one you just put up. But
I think this will mean Schalbot will play a little bit deeper. He can be an attacking right back, which is maybe his best role anyway. Niels Lelouch can sit in midfield with Kyle Healy, the former Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, and IUPUI player, formerly of Cleveland St. Ignatius prior to that. We're back underway. I don't believe Club de Lyon made any substitutions at the break. They don't have a very deep bench. Got 4 outfield players plus a substitute keeper. A couple of them were out warming up at halftime and did not go back into the locker room. Club de Lyon in white attacking the goal to our left in this second half. Michigan Stars in red moving left to right. Detender Makruva lost his footing as he smacked that forward.
Still went about 60 yards in the air, just even with a half-hearted effort.
It's like a quarterback throwing 60 yards off their back
right.
foot. Throw in for Matias Cruz, the Argentine. Throwing that official Nisa ball, provided by Zara. It's popped down the line for Pedro Echeverria Hernandez. The striker pulls that back, and that, with the aid of a deflection, is cleared by the Stars.
Was a very timely deflection, because
was.
that could have been disaster early in this half.
Stripling couldn't play the right ball forward.
As we said, a lot of conviction right now for Club de Lyon before the break after that equalizer. Can you carry it into the second half? That's the big question.
Konate recovered and then got spun down by Hernandez.
Konate's definitely taken some contact tonight. Took a shoe to the face earlier, and the forehead to be more exact, and certainly, as you said, left his feet on more than one occasion and hasn't had a soft landing most of the time.
Body on the line, as always. If you're going to be an effective center back, especially in lower league soccer anywhere in the world, you better have the battle scars to prove it. The Club de Lyon bench, by the way, neglected to run through in the first half. Tolu Ibakunle, Jean-Paul Lopez, Matias Mercado, Christian Aragon Ruiz, and the backup keeper Hector Melendez. Ibakunle was one of those that was warming up at halftime. Marich gets stepped on. Stars have a free kick. Opened his goal-scoring account in the first half, set up by Hunter Olsen. So needs just 13 more to hit the heights of last year when he got 14 and set up 6.
Was so good a year ago. And as you said, a late addition to this group.
Yeah, I was not with him for their first U.S. Open Cup match against Steel City. Olsen's free kick now is hammered away. It's Victor Rolf trying to play that up the line and does find a man in plenty of space. Looked like it may have come up and hit him in the hand. There's the cross, and Makruva watches that hop wide. Arenas, though, with a pace to keep it in near the corner flag. Just ran away from Carter Burris, though.
He has been the target on those crossing passes every time. It obviously worked once. It wasn't quite the same design that we saw on that run, but they definitely know that he has got the pace to, or maybe the only guy, to be fair, that has the pace to get in possession of those crossing passes. And again, if you can flick one past to Tenda Makruva once again, playing with house money at that point.
Makruva launched forward. Matthias Cruz won the header. It bounces over Victor Rolf. It's interesting to make two changes in central midfield at halftime, but it looks to me like you've got Stripling and Lelouch as the kind of deep-lying midfielders. And Hunter Olsen has moved from the midfield into the attack. And Kyle Healy is now kind of in the number 10 role. He's the furthest midfielder forward, and Andres Schalbot has dropped back to right back to maybe help neutralize Ivan Arenas a little bit.
Well, and Colin Stripling becomes even more important in this half because, as you mentioned, in that first, picked up that yellow. Can't pick up a second because they've already made two substitutions in that spot, and they've left Stripling out there believing that he gives them something that the other two guys don't.
Burris pops this into space in the 18. Space that's closed in a hurry by Sako Kanate. Season tickets, by the way, for Michigan Stars are on sale until May 1st for the low, low price of just $99. Go to MichiganStarsFC.com and get your season tickets today. But remember, you can only do it until May 1st. So that's, just a couple of days away. So get while the getting's good.
And odds are you're going to see matches late into the fall like you did the
Indeed.
last couple years.
Into October.
Would be a shocker if they weren't in that conversation again this year. A really good squad.
They've got a big match coming next Saturday. We mentioned it in the first half against Maryland Bobcats. 7 o'clock kickoff on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Game you won't want to miss. You can get your tickets at tickets.nisasoccer.com. That is smashed into the parking lot over the grandstand on the far side behind the benches. Stars have a throw. Here's Arenas. Cruz. Arenas, great touch. And Cruz made that overlapping run. Ball sent to the near post. Well, it runs all the way through to Makruva. Echeverria Hernandez wasn't too far away.
Think he may have gotten a soft touch, perhaps. It was really close. But you're right. It wasn't much behind it, but boy, was that ever a dangerous play once again for the Stars.
Sails over Brady Walker. Throw it. That's good skill. And here's Burris on the end of it. Forced backwards, though. 10 men behind the ball for the Stars. Bash clear. Only Marich is up there, and I think he lost sight of that ball as soon as it was banged forward.
Looked like it may have gotten caught up in the draft a little bit, too.
And if you're Leon Marich, you maybe don't even bother looking up because you know you're not going to be able to find it.
Right.
It's like, I cannot read this with what the wind is currently doing out for a Club de Lyon throw-in. Now, do they have a long throw-in artist like Hunter Olsen? Seemingly not, because Matias Cruz is looking backwards. Though Arenas is trying to ghost into space, and that almost picked him out, too. Olsen back to Chalbot. And let Makruva distribute. And Kanate. Good ball to Marich's chest. And Stripling still giving chase. Man down to the center circle, and because he's prone in a dangerous area of the pitch, we'll have a stoppage. That's Gabriel Ortiz, who was with Flower City Union last year, was an unused substitute in the final.
The first almost 10 minutes, though, of this second half, Club de Lyon has been very aggressive, put guys forward, not afraid to put some pressure on that back four for the Stars at this point. And you think about, as we said, that energy that was pumped into this group after that equalizer. Fabian Pourain, saying to us, again, they wanted to be an attacking group. He likes that pressure, wants to be an aggressive club. Said that's the way they played. He called it Argentinian way. And his club, if you had told me before the match was going to be somewhat successful at doing that, I would have told you probably were going to see a few goals more for the Stars at this point. And that has not been the case. They've done a nice job handling it so far. Long way to go.
No matter what happens the last 35 minutes, if you are Fabian Pourain, you've got to be pleased with so
Absolutely.
much of what you've seen. Hunter Olsen, great play again. But that final ball just lets them down. Kyle Healy had a couple of options. He had a Yunchai to his left and Olsen to his right and couldn't link up with either.
And we talked to a guy before the match that just, in referencing Fabian Pourain, that I think knows that there's pieces here. It's just a matter of how all those pieces fit together. And based off of what we saw through the first two matches, this might be the closest he's found to finding a finished product or close to it.
Chalbot's clearance off of Club de Lyon toes.
I chuckled a bit when you asked him which systems that he had played, and he said all of them because they've tried a lot of different things. It's been a lot of experimentation early. What do we do well? How do we fit together best? And certainly based off of the results through three matches, regardless of what happens here tonight, it's going to be hard to not look at going into that fourth match of the season and not try some similar tactics.
Marich wanted a free kick to be given, and it was.
Looked like he got a heel to the midsection. Boot went a little high.
Here's Olsen, wide right. Waiting for Chalbot to make the overlapping run. He worked himself some space. Here comes Marich, who scored in the first half. That takes a deflection and just kept out by Rezzano. He does not have the look of a guy that's been out of the game for a couple of years.
Well, that was one where he had to scramble to his left.
That was the word I was going to use, a mad scramble just to get a little touch.
I don't think he thought that was going to get through. Marich almost shot through two defenders, and it somehow found space to get through, and so close.
Corner, Kanate heads wide.
But boy, so much of being a keeper, as you know, reaction time, and Rezzano had it there. Whatever rust may have been left certainly got peeled off as he got into gear really quickly. But But getting back to what we were talking about, too, with Hunter Olsen in that first half.
Yeah.
You see there, it's that footwork, that placement to Marich. It wasn't a tough pass, but just that little fake to be able to free himself up and find Marich in the middle. It's not always the last touch that is what sets up the goal. Sometimes it's that play before. He's trying to do it again here.
Olsen again. Marich trying to keep himself on side for the cross. There it comes! It's poked just behind by Gabriel Ortiz. Goodness me, inches away from an own goal. Stars get a corner, starting to turn the screw a little bit.
As I said, in that first half, it felt like at some point Hunter Olsen was going to have something to say about the outcome of this match. And those last two possessions for Stars, so close to setting up teammates for goals. Well, actually an own goal on that last one.
Yunchai deep corner, knotted down. Kanate shot is right at Rezzano.
Kanate just couldn't get a lot on it. Tried to turn the hips really quick.
Burris in a battle with Shalbot, trying to slalom his way around the new Stars right back. Makruva mops it up at the edge of the box. Walker sending it long. Mateus gets a boot to it, puts it out for a throw-in. Half hour left. Lately, it's been one-way traffic at Alvaro Rezzano's goal. Can the Stars make that possession and positive play count? Kanate, the big center back, has had a couple of scoring opportunities, but there wasn't quite enough on that ball central, and here comes Ivan Arenas, clipping that for Burris off his chest, then off of Kanate. Trying to keep his arm pinned behind his body. Great ball from Olsen. Kyle Healy. Twisting and turning and waiting for some help to arrive. Just go back further than he might have wanted, perhaps, to Lelouch.
Just kept looking for somebody in the middle to have a little bit of extra space to run onto a ball, and just nobody there.
Kanate. And Olsen was being held off by Mateus. Oh, it's a good try. Good effort. It's put wide. Boy, that really came from nothing and nowhere.
That all starts based off of what we talked about earlier in this match. I know people are probably sick of hearing us talk about the wind, but Rezzano put that right underneath that draft line, or that, I guess, that corridor of wind that we're kind of seeing blow from the south end zone here. And it just stayed underneath and really surprised everyone, as you said, to find an attacker downfield so close to getting that second goal.
It was Christopher Clement who got into that pocket of space and almost exploited what the Stars were offering him.
That one got held up more, but that last one, he really was able to pound one almost like a line drive underneath.
Oh, is that Yunchai who's down, and he's punching the turf? I'm glad he's back to his feet. Hopefully just got stepped on. When you see a player react like that out of frustration, you hope for the best. I think he's all right. Here's Olsen. Can he keep this in play? He can. Doesn't have any support. Marich is rushing into the box. Cross is blocked immediately.
Looked like Olsen may have tweaked something too.
And he's up and mobile again.
Went down in a heap, though, after that attempted cross.
Here comes Yunchai. Healy made a good run to his right. Shalbot overlaps. He's onside. Can he pull this back across? Was looking for Yunchai. Blocked behind. It's a Michigan Stars corner.
Great deflection in the box, though. It's going to take plays like that. Make sure that none of those passes find an opposing foot for Club de Lyon.
Stars will make another change momentarily, and it'll be Daniel Wright for Leon Marich. Interesting. It's behind Kanate. So without Praise Madukwe, that would leave the Stars without a striker in the traditional sense, in that I don't think anybody that will be on the pitch for Michigan Stars would call themselves a striker as their main role. No,
well, that was.
I suppose you could put, well, maybe it's Stephen Yunchai that's going to play centrally instead.
Well, that was kind of the formula a year ago, where Marich would play about a half, and then sometime into that second, if memory serves, the big fella maybe doesn't have the tank full enough yet to be able to play that full 90. But this is an interesting strategy, as you said, and also to see if maybe it gives Stars an advantage or a disadvantage, because, as you said, you don't have a true striker up front.
Well, it puts another really good technical player on the field in Daniel Wright, but they've got to chase after Matias Cruz. Here's Purin looking for Echeverria Hernandez, who I think may have just gotten a piece of that. Good distribution, and quickly on Makruva out to right.
You hit it right on the head. I was going to say he wasted no time with the run out. Maybe if you have Yunchai up top, as that's exactly where the Stars went, as you predicted. Got a little bit more pace up top. Does that give you better opportunities downfield? We'll have to wait and see.
Wright heads it on, but no one ahead of him in red. Healy comes back for it. Here's Wright. Good run by Healy that opened up that space for him.
He's also moved Hunter Olsen off this right flank as well. As you said, electing to move Healy and Wright over to this side.
And now Christian Aragon Ruiz will come on for Carter Burris. So first change of the night for Club de Lyon.
Burris setting up that goal so far tonight. Take the assist.
Here is Yunchai back in a wide right position. That's a good cross. Brought down to the edge of the 18. The shot from Olsen is blocked immediately and scrambled away by Club de Lyon.
Well, Yunchai just showed why he is an effective player up top. That was a terrific cross. And I don't know how he got through along that near sideline with the tackler coming.
Well, he's strong and so explosive with the ball at his feet. Went to ground there, trying to maintain possession, which he does. And an option to the left, but unable to pull the trigger quickly enough.
Well, as you said, too, it gives you another distributor and a playmaker up top that, as much as we both like Leon Marich, that's not really his forte.
We'll play on. Player that I think is just cramping up, hopefully, for Club de Lyon, sitting in the center circle.
Yeah, it looks like trying to stretch out that calf a little bit.
And now the whistle will go. You're obligated as a referee to stop it immediately for a head injury, or if there's a chance that you could get trampled over when the run of play is coming in your direction. I would argue the center circle is always.
When you said that, I was thinking the same thing.
It will be interesting in a few weeks' time when Club de Lyon comes back up here to see if they have at their disposal a couple of their heavy hitters. One is Burrito Martinez, who's now in his late 30s, but is a former Argentine international. In fact, There was a year where he won an award given out by the Football Association as the best domestic-based player in Argentina. The best foreign-based player that year was Lionel Messi. So anytime you're earning a similar award to Lionel Messi, that's a good thing. And a really, really talented, very legit guy, was part of a club team in Argentina, Vélez Sarsfield, in the mid-'90s that won what's now the Club World Cup against AC Milan in Japan. They also have Carlos Ibargüen, who played for Colombia nearly 10 years ago now at the Under-20 World Cup. In fact, he came off the bench against the USA in the knockout stage. Rubio Rubin scored the winner for the U.S. on that occasion. So a couple of guys that could certainly be attack-minded difference makers for this team. And, well, you take a young squad like we've talked about and put a couple of former internationals around them, and, well, we might get the chance to see that on May 18th. I hope we do.
And again, with the results that we've seen so far tonight, and obviously not done yet, but with what we've seen so far, when you pair some of that more skilled player, more experienced player with some of these younger guys, sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle with that combination, and that's certainly what Fabian Purain is hoping happens once those guys come on board.
So Tolu Ibekunle will come on for Hernandez, who is the player that was down and hurt in the center circle. So that will give us presumably 2 additional minutes of stoppage time once we finish the 90, 20 minutes from now. It's another win by Sako Kanate, who is just so, for lack of a better word, awkward to play against with his long legs. Last year, of course, it was Artem Baranovsky and Garrett Hogben who were the 2 primary center backs for the Stars. Hogben now playing out west again in his home state with LA Force. Baranovsky is coaching down in Florida now. And they had replaced Matt Constant and Vasilio Zongos from the year prior when the Stars won the NISA Championship. Nice idea by Niels Lelouch to try and play that through ball for Yunchai.
Took the words right out of my mouth. That was exactly my thought as soon as I saw that played forward. Just a little too much. And now a little cat and mouse off the back.
It's off of Yunchai. Yeah,
wow.
Yunchai and Razzano. Oh, hang on. Razzano and Yunchai squaring up to each other.
Well, Yunchai probably taking exception, as most of us would, with a free kick to the back like that. And as you said, almost deflected into the goal, and certainly wouldn't have wanted to have been an official trying to figure out there's a card given.
So Yunchai gets a yellow card. And will it be the same color for Razzano?
Looks like it might be.
Yes, it is.
You get a little nervous when they go back to the waistband to see if it's the same color that's going to come out, but luckily for Club de Lyon, it wasn't red.
I think the free kick here is for the infringement, presumably by Steven Yunchai, not granting Razzano the opportunity to bash the ball forward.
Well, Yunchai obviously experienced at this level, has played overseas as well, brings that experience, that game that he's been able to grow abroad and bring it back here, and you could see he plays with a little bit of a swagger that maybe befits a guy who's played at some different levels.
He's gotten physically stronger, I think. Just you look at him, he looks thicker than when he left at the end of last year. Went over and played in Slovenia and then in Croatia.
He was not on the club when we did the game together last year. And to see him, and I think he adds a little bit of an edge to this group, which is probably not a bad thing.
Power and pace and great skill. Really good technical winger. Now in a number 9 role with Marich on the bench and Praise Madukwe graduating from college. Free kick to Club de Lyon. Pudane's ball forward. Makruva has it covered.
One thing that gets lost, I think, with the athleticism of Makruva is he's a very technically skilled keeper as well.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of gets lost, I think, in the perhaps unorthodox way of playing that he does sometimes, as you mentioned that.
Well, I think he's able to be unorthodox because he is so technically sound.
But also, as you said, just that way of giving yourself a wide berth between you and your goal. A lot of people would be very nervous to play that far out of net.
15 minutes left of the 90. Pudane won that back. Bakunle's ball not enough to find Pudane. Oh, and Kanate on the rampage coming forward. This is a great run by Kanate, who stays on his feet. He rides the challenge. Healy's out there to his right. Kanate may be running out of steam on this move. Step over. He goes to ground, wins a free kick. Boy, Victor Rolf making the claim that he got that cleanly, all ball. Nobody's more relieved, although he's writhing around in pain right now, than Sako Kanate. That was some run by the 6'6" center back.
That's like trying to go up against a runaway freight train. Good luck if you want to put yourself on the tracks in front of him. You said
that would not be me.
Certainly not I either. I would be diving out of the way for sure. I think I might have had a cramp that would have popped up at that point.
Daniel Wright presumably on free kick duty. Kapazuki with a word or two in his ear.
You wonder if maybe they go to the net or if they're going to try and connect.
That's exactly what Daniel Wright tried to do. Catch Club de Lyon asleep at the switch, unable to find that near corner.
I like the idea, though, to switch it up a little bit because you do, as you kind of said, have to make sure that Rezzano is minding the store and being ready for any possibility in that time frame. And the next time that you come down, and if Daniel Wright takes the next free kick, if you're that close again, it at least makes Rezzano respect the fact that Daniel Wright might give it a go.
Aragon Ruiz, who won the throw.
I'm surprised that was actually awarded to Club de Lyon because it looked like Ruiz dribbled it right out of play.
Aragon Ruiz for Pudane through the uprights.
And he is upset with himself. Looked to the heavens and screamed a bit there. Frustrated that he didn't get a better strike. Would have been good for 3 on a Friday, but not tonight, unfortunately.
Not able to keep it down. Walker lost out.
That's a great
and here's
ball.
Aragon Ruiz as he stayed on side. Good block.
That was a great
by
recovery.
Shalbad with pace. The recovery run was brilliant.
Absolutely.
So Club de Lyon will leave 3 back in the center circle. Stars will have 2 up. Yunchai and Wright. Wright is all the way out here at the near touchline. He might just wander into your screen to the bottom right of it. Meanwhile, everybody in the 18-yard box, bar one, is crammed inside the 6. Went to the near post, and Makruva can't keep it out, and Club de Lyon has taken the lead.
You keep putting pressure, good things happen, and if you don't think that's a squad that has felt pretty good about what they've done here tonight, that is an incredible goal.
Pressure bust pipes, as they say, and I think that might have been Andrew Anyafo who got the final touch on it. If it is, it's his first goal in 2 years when he was playing at Mercer. He's got an equalizer against North Carolina State.
But you think about, as we talked about coming into this night, it felt like it was all Michigan Stars on paper. And that's the hard part, is you got to execute when you go out there. And that's not to say that this is over by any stretch. Lots of time left to get that equalizer. But this is a Club de Lyon team that, again, once they got that first goal, just felt like, I don't know if it was the weight of the moment or the pressure or the idea that, hey, we can play with these guys, but they have just been a very confident group.
Well, if you remember the first half, the equalizing goal came just 2 minutes after the goal that put Michigan Stars ahead. Can they equalize quickly? Yunchai wins a corner, which he will take himself.
You wonder if at some point, too, it doesn't maybe make sense to bring a receiver closer and kind of go on a short pass off of those corners, maybe just to try a different look.
Well, Walker tried that big windup, and he's maybe exposed his back line, although unsurprisingly, it's Hunter Olsen that's tracking back to make sure that Club de Lyon cannot launch a quick counter.
Well, certainly a third goal would put this one away, but
of course, if you remember back to the opening night of the season, Michigan Star scored twice in stoppage time against Savannah Clovers to win 3-2. They were down 2-1. They conceded from 2 corners, in fact, in the second half there. Stripling, nice little turn.
It's been very quiet this half in comparison to that first half. Probably one of the few times you've said his name in this second 45.
That's true. Olsen's long throw in. You have to wait until Konate can get situated. You have to think Konate is the target to try and flick it onto the back post. And it carried just a little bit too long. Rezzano covers up.
And he is cramping
and now
himself.
He is cramping.
Well, this will certainly add a lot of extra time for Stars to try and get that leveling goal if they're not able to do it in the 90 minutes. But what a trip back to Orlando this would be for Club de Lyon if they're able to hold on. You said just 1 point from the 2 games so far, and to come on the road, maybe a little banged up, a little injured, mixing and matching throughout the week.
Well, they found something that works.
Yeah.
Michigan Stars will throw the dice and bring on Nicholas Nicola, the 18-year-old. And interestingly, it's Kyle Healy who will come off. Healy only just came on at halftime. So that'll be a tactical change, I'm sure. He seems to be moving okay. Well, be careful, Stephen. Back up a little bit.
I think we saw that movie already.
Yeah, each of those two have been booked already for coming together. Rezzano and Yunchai.
Also wonder if maybe word doesn't come from the sideline to Konate to maybe start playing on that front foot a little bit, looking for opportunities to push pace like he did a few moments ago.
It's a cross for Anagon Ruiz, but the header is right at Tatenda Makruva. Boy, that was a great ball dug out on the right. I think that was Purain.
It's a good job by Makruva as well.
Tried to thread that through for Lelouch.
The passing by Club de Lyon tonight, too, has been very impressive to see on the 2 goals that they've scored. Obviously, the cross was a little bit maybe perhaps last man standing, but the equalizer was a really nice pass, and as you mentioned, that pass to Ruiz, almost terrific.
Oh, Healy put a cross up there. Just ran beyond Anyafo, who's hoping that his goal will turn out to be the winner. Oh, wait a minute. So Colin Stripling just went to the bench, but the 12 of Kyle Healy went up on the board. I wonder if they thought better of that and thought, well, maybe Stripling's legs have gone. Club de Lyon will make a change also. They had one ready, and now they've pulled him back. Yeah, now the right number's going up on the board. 14, not 12, so Healy stays on.
You were right, though. I was a little curious that you only bring a guy on for about 30 minutes of play. Yeah.
Although we did see that last year, and ironically, it was often Nicholas Nicola, the teenager, that would maybe come on at halftime and then be subbed back off a half hour later, depending on the situation in game and what the Stars were either chasing after or trying to preserve.
Feels like Kanate maybe also starting to run low on gas. Hands on the hips there.
I'm sure.
He's been a warrior tonight. You mentioned how much was left in the tank after that run that he made.
That'll wear a guy down for
Absolutely.
sure when you aren't used to doing it. The referee, Jeremy Valentine, just motioned to his watch to kind of remind everybody that, yeah, you can cramp up all you want, but, yep, it's being added. Thank you, Mr. Valentine. And that's Ortiz, who will hobble to the touchline. Actually, that may be less of a cramp and more of maybe a hamstring thing.
Yeah.
He's kind of reaching to the back of his leg, the back of his thigh.
It's possible for sure. Looks like that was not at the calf. Maybe he thought it was initially, but when you're trying to stretch out that hamstring. But no one coming on right now.
Well, they did just put up on the board Ivan Arenas going off for Matias Mercado.
So they're going to, I think, maybe bring.
Ortiz will have to be waved back on.
Yeah, so he'll come back on. It looks like he's okay, but always dangerous when you play with 10.
Ibakunle.
No call there.
And now Kanate with license to make another rampaging run. Though this time he yanks his man to the turf. 88th minute. It's Clement who went down. Beg pardon, Pudain.
He was not able to evade white shirts as much as he was on the last one. Really fleet of foot, but that time just not able to stay under control.
And that free kick is hit straight out of play.
Again, the 88th minute, but we're going to have quite a bit of extra time added. Have to assume it's going to be at least.
Yeah, could be looking at 5-6 minutes,
that's
maybe.
That's where I was thinking.
It's a bit of time for Michigan Stars to find an equalizer. Right. Good
Great.
ball ahead. And Yuncha was trying to hold his man off, and he could only do it for so long. Boy, it looked like Mercado had only been on the field for mere seconds, pulled up, getting over to the touchline. I think he probably realized it was a fool's errand. It was never going to stay in play for him. Another long throw. It's a good one. That drops. Canate will keep it in, was hoping to backheel that to a teammate. Instead, it's cleared by Club de Lyon.
But this is where Stars have to be smart with these opportunities because you've got a ton of time. You don't have to rush. You know that you're going to get a lot of stoppage time, at least, as we talked about, 4 minutes at the very least.
That's unlucky against Olsen that bounced up and hit him in the hand.
But you know that you have time, so don't do anything that is rushed. Try and set something up that is well designed, well thought out. Of course, Club de Lyon more than happy to take as leisurely of a stroll back down the field at this point.
Yeah, there is no sense of urgency, although if you're Alvaro Rezzano, you've been booked already and you can't afford to get a second yellow for time wasting. 7 minutes of time added on. Well, so the Stars may well have a chance to get something out of this.
7 minutes is an eternity. Just heard someone in the crowd yell, "Are you kidding me, 7 minutes?" So, I mean, that tells you how much injury stoppage we had, but maybe 7 is a little higher than we both thought, but we both said 5-6 minutes a few moments ago, so not that far off. And as you pointed out, officials were pointing at their watch saying, this is all getting added.
In the last 2 years in the game, there has been a concerted effort to try and have more accurate stoppage time at the end of halves and matches.
Yeah,
that is a handball and a free kick for the Stars.
It always used to feel like it didn't matter how long or how little. It was kind of always designated 2 minutes, it always felt like.
Daniel Wright on free kick duty.
It's a great chance.
Wright will float this in. Canate looked like he was able to head it down and just put into the stands. Well, actually, with the wind, it didn't even reach the stands. Olsen's long throw in, wind aided. Oh, Canate. Oh, he headed that down. It's hammered in. Michigan Stars leave it late once more, but they've tied it at 2. We have indeed seen this movie before. They scored the 2 in stoppage time a couple of weeks ago against Savannah Clovers. And now they've made it 2-2.
As I said,
whose final touch, and it's Niels Lelouch who had the equalizing goal in the Clovers match. He headed that down. The shot was stopped, kept it alive, and it's game on with 5 minutes to play.
As I said, take your time. You didn't have to rush those things. They didn't that time. They waited for everybody to get forward and then took advantage. Maybe Club de Lyon a little slow to pick it back up.
Well, now can they go for the kill?
Certainly what I'd be thinking.
And it drops to Daniel Wright. He pokes it ahead. Can he find Nicola? Turned away by Anyafo for a throw-in.
But you've got another great opportunity here.
Olsen wants it quickly, but he's got to wait until Canate can get up there. He is so integral to what the Stars do on corners, free kicks, and throw-ins. We couldn't possibly have this happen again, could we? 2 in stoppage time to win it. Olsen, the header. Oh, my goodness! You cannot be serious! It's Niels Lelouch. Again, all he does is score in stoppage and added an extra time, and he's got 2 in 2 minutes, and that may be the 3 points for the Stars.
Well, you give the Stars a ton of credit because when that second goal went home for Club de Lyon, you might have seen different teams wither under that pressure. And it takes a veteran squad to not be phased when they're down, especially late in matches like this. And that is a group that was not fazed by that deficit. And as you said, 2 in stoppage time for the second time this year. And that is the mark of a group that understands that there's always one more shot.
Now, you cannot concede at the other end. Oh, they very nearly did. Off the line by Andres Schalbad.
That was almost 3-3. You're absolutely correct.
Someone's hurt for the Stars. It's Yunchai. It's his turn to cramp now, which you can afford to have happen when you are ahead in injury time. Some will be added on, I'm sure. Mercado and Clement standing over him. Nicholas Nicola helping Stephen back to his feet.
Well, Clement was probably just over there helping count the seconds off so they can keep it going. Just make sure you add that 45 back on, that's all.
This team, I swear. But they have to defend. Aragon Ruiz aiming at no one in particular.
Smart play, just get it out.
Any port in a storm, although Ortiz rescues possession for Club de Lyon. Can they find a last gasp equalizer? Gave possession away there. That was poked forward for Nicola. And now the whistle goes for a free kick, which now it's Michigan Star's turn to have very little sense of urgency.
The only difference, I think, between perhaps that first come-from-behind win to start the year and this one is Stars left a lot of stoppage time on the clock to have to defend and hold off Club de Lyon. But as you said, very evident here, there's no rush.
This has been just nuts. It's right at Rezzano. Maybe 2 minutes left.
Just get it out of harm's
we'll
way.
just hack it upfield.
That's what you want to do.
Putin looking for Cruz. Handball against Club de Lyon. Boy, that is extremely unlucky.
There's not a lot you can do when the ball is kicked directly at your hand. And Arenas, wasn't a whole lot he could do to move that hand out of the way when it's a line drive. And also that pass is taken within half a yard of you as well. I'm not sure what's going on now because nobody's...
Stars have one last change ready, and Yunchai will go off. And Nathan Brown, I believe that is, who will come in for a very late cameo.
It's always good to have fresh legs, just to make sure.
It is Nathan Brown.
So they'll bring Makruva up.
He'll move the ball about 6 yards further forward. And I think he'll be booked for time wasting. Indeed, he will. He won't much mind.
Not if it's effective.
Well, and he's managed to sneak an extra 10 yards
right.
on the free kick. We'll just hang up there. And Nicola stayed on side, thinking about the corner flag. It's swept out for a throw-in.
Hour's getting late, though. For Club de Lyon, they've got to make something happen and happen here soon.
Ouch. Free kick. This will maybe be the last kick of the game, or close to it.
You got to think we're getting close. There's another yellow as well.
Take it to the corner. Try and kill as much time as you can. Stars can maybe fashion one more chance out of it. Brown shoots on the turn into the side netting.
So this might be your last sequence here. Looks like the official's going to allow this to go. Rizzano pushing everybody forward. And he'll bring it forward, so they're going to bring Rizzano upfield.
All the way forward.
That might be it.
Indeed it is. Well, the stoppage time specialists have done it again. 2 in stoppage time for Michigan Stars. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Leon Merritt should go all the way back to the first half. Scores on 32 minutes, set up by Hunter Olsen. And boy, Alvaro Rizzano trying to get into it with some Stars players, and that's a problem. Ivan Arenas, not long after, equalized just 2 minutes later. Trying to get, boy, Rizzano separated from everybody. I don't know what on earth happened there, but Rizzano came charging into the Stars half of the field. Kapazuki being ushered back by Tatenda Makruva. That's a shame. Arenas, a great equalizer set up by Christopher Clement. Onyafo scored what we thought was maybe the winner in the 79th minute, but these Michigan Stars. And at a time, it was very difficult to tell whether or not Niels Lelouch or Nicholas Nicola, who were in the same place at the same time, got the final touch hammering it home. The initial header from Lelouch was saved by Rizzano, and it might have been Nicola who snuck a boot in there and had the final touch, so it might have been his equalizer. Again, so tough to tell looking at the replay. Niels Lelouch, though, definitely the winner just a minute after the fact. Oh, what a game. What a night once again. These Michigan Stars now 9 points from 3 matches. Can't argue with that.
Absolutely not. And like I said, when you've got a veteran club like this, to have the ability to remain calm in a game like that, knowing that, as you said, that 79th minute goal goes through, and all of a sudden that clock becomes a factor. You understand that there's still time. And then once that stoppage time started adding up, you and I knew it was going to be a pretty hefty amount of time that was going to be added in injury time, and so much time left. We knew it was going to present a lot of opportunity for Stars to be able to at least get that equalizer, and it didn't take long to get the game winner as well. But you really have to respect the fact that this group has that never say die attitude, and somewhere the Goonies are absolutely thrilled because Michigan Stars are borrowing that line and putting it on display. You really have to be pleased with this effort, though, because you know, again, that you're going to get a full 90 minutes and then some from this group, and that's what a championship club has to do.
The Stars say stoppage time is our time. Our time. Final score, Michigan Stars 3, Club de Lyon 2. Another bizarre night in Nice. Niels Lelouch, the late hero, to win it for the Stars. For Chris Schmidbauer and our crew, Mason Lowry saying so long. You've been watching Saturday Night Soccer on Nice Plus.